So with our gorgeous Mr. Bodie, hi handsome man. Maybe we'll warm up a little bit of loose leash walking, get him in the groove with doing some focus on us. So I would recommend when practicing with your gorgeous guy, you guys have been doing a stellar job. Um, but I know there's been some moments where certain things have been a little spooky for him. Like I know we mentioned a little bit last week, like someone poked out of their car and it surprised him. Um, I'd recommend to sometimes go and make little field trips. Not saying you have to do this all the time, but I would highly recommend to go to like a parking lot area where you could see people coming in and out of a storefront. I know that we're going to do a little field trip together. We're going to go to Tractor Supply. We're going to practice with this handsome guy and with you guys in the real world setting. But I think it would be really nice too is on the side is to sometimes go and do little adventures. Doesn't have to be very far from your home, but maybe do a little field trip to a parking lot where you can sit and watch folks and things go by. Excuse me, and then start practicing some different easy peasy skills while there. Good job, sir. So right now, just like we did earlier with our other Mr. B, Mr. Bernie, we want to feed on the same side the handsome guy is going to be on, which he's doing a stellar job. If you lose him, I do find it can be helpful to use your hand as a visual and get him to hone in on that hand so you can feed again by the side of your leg to your best ability. Ready? Find it. Then I do like to throw out a few little find it's. Ready? Oh, smart man. So, and even if you don't necessarily get to say the recall word, be it here for the handsome guy. Oh, ready? Threw it the other way. Ready? Bodie, this way. Ready? Find it. So even if you're feeding for the great response you're getting, Bodie, here. Yes, nice job. Don't worry if you don't always get to say your slogan or your cue word. The main goal in the beginning is especially just feeding for the moments that were successful. And again, you're depositing into that lovely account again, some deposits to make that behavior or skill more likely to happen later. Ready? So we'll do another little bit with some loose leash walking. He's like, hold up, lady, I'm already tired. Oh, what a smart boy. Yes. So again, we'll do a little find it. And then we'll do another little recall for Mr. B. Bodie, come. Oh, sorry, here. That was my bad. Oh, I should get better with everybody else's slogans. That's the problem is you get stuck on your own and then you forget everybody else's sometimes. Plus, it's getting towards the end of the day and, just like them, they get tired. My brain also starts to melt. Yes, what a brilliant boy. Good job. Thank goodness they're not as verbal oriented as we are. So we'll do another little find it and I'll try another one of those little recall moments. He's almost got it. He's close. It's kind of like playing warm cold. Like he gets closer and then he gets further and now he found it. Bodie, here. What a brilliant boy. Yes. I mean, he's doing spectacular too, though. Like he does such a nice job playing with all the littles. Even like little Miss Sophie does a very nice job playing with the men. But Mr. B is just such a nice little gentle giant already. Ready? We'll do another little find it. And then Bodie, here. What a good boy. So if, let's say, for example, I know we dived into a little bit with creating these scenarios for the two at home. I know you have a third, but he's a little bit older, so maybe doesn't participate as much with some of the skills that you guys are working on with Miss JoJo and with Mr. B over here. So I'm just going to do a little find it so you can kind of get out of my way for just a moment. I'm going to plop down our lovely target caught. Sorry if that was a little loud, but a smart boy. So I knew this is like one of his favorites because he does a very nice job with his place and his downs on his target bed. What a good boy. So let's say, for example, and I know I mentioned in the previous videos with Miss J, we're going to try to practice skills like this where we're going to have him on gear with me. We'll maybe set up JoJo with her harness and her gear over here with a little tether. And I want to practice where hopefully they can feel comfortable working a few skills while being near each other. Almost like a classroom dynamic, but again, softer where it's just the siblings. And we'll take it from there. But for right now, we're going to do a little bit with our stays just to build up great value in being stationary, with me throwing in some distractions like movement and touching of items on the wall as a nice little distraction scenario. So we're going to tell them to stay. I'm going to first start off with just doing a little bit of movement. So remember, when you start to add in more difficulty, you want to go at sort of steps that seem attainable for him too. So if, let's say, he's like, that was really challenging, we might go, ready, bed. I'm going to set him up again, down, and then I'm going to feed him for that. Yes. So I'm going to tell him now again to stay. He's like, hold up, wasn't quite done chewing. So he's going to stay. And I'm gonna see if I can get him to just hang out. I'm just gonna try a little bit in front of him, so not too hard. 2, you can also feed him between his little front legs on the dog cot or blanket or bed as well. So that way you can try to help reinforce that being stationary, oh my goodness, get cozy, is the best value for him. So sometimes if he tends to be an eager beaver and really loves his food, which I get, we might want to, instead of feeding him directly to his cute little face, is feed him right between his little front feet on the bed. And the reason behind that, it can start to help him keep a little lower versus meeting you halfway and hopping up from that down position. So again, I'm just feeding between his little front legs. And you'd only say the stay word once. I know we've dived into this a little bit earlier. So he only hears the cue word once. If he were to break, which means he got up and he wiggled, he's not in trouble, but I'm going to try him again to reset up the behavior and work the skill once more. If though, like for little Miss S, she was a little bit tired, Miss Sophie. So for her, we could probably take a little breather and we rotated through a few other skills. So if your babes are not doing too well, I wouldn't keep harping on them for that behavior, especially if they're showing signs that it's not going in the direction you were hoping and that they were retaining great skill set. So right here, nice. So I'm just building in that holding his position has value by me wiggling, and that staying still has value. So again, I'm just gonna do a little bit with distractions, just moving some of my stuff. Nice. So again, yes, and feed. Great job. So sometimes I may not go all the way to the thing. So this could be also you guys practicing while he's doing his place. Maybe Miss J is doing something else like playing or doing some other skill, and they're taking turns while seeing other babes moving or doing harder dynamics. They could then be being fed or enjoy a chew while they're doing their skill and the other babe is working theirs. And then that can be really helpful for getting your babe comfortable with that concept of potentially taking turns down the road. Nice. And of course, you guys can't see him because his cute little head is facing this way, but his little rump is adorable still. So again, just kind of keep working it. If let's say I wanted to end my stay position, I would go back to my gorgeous guy or gal and again, feed them for that stationary position. And then again, we'd say all done or free time, release, whatever slogan. What a good job. So ready? We'll be all done. We'll get up. He's like, oh, do I have to? Ready? So we'll get him up and wiggling. Oh, what a good boy. So smart. So smart. So the only time I feed Mr. B, though, is while he's in the stay. So I want him to think the best value bed is for being while in the stationary position, which is that stay. This could be, again, in a sitting position, a standing position, a down. But I find what works better is typically for most of the babes is to practice that relaxation in a nice laying down sideways position can be nice. So they're like on their little hip. If they're kind of not quite on their hip, I feel like they're not as comfortable and they're almost ready to pop back up. So right here, we're working this one simple stay. And now I'm trying to try and just be a little distracting, maybe move some items again. Funny noises. Oh, he says that one was much harder. So, oh my gosh, chewing. So if your babe breaks, they're not in trouble, but we're going to tell them to go to their bed again, reapply our down, and then I'm going to tell them to stay. And then from here where he's doing much sort of easier little setup, I'm going to feed him for this position for a few little reps. So he's not in trouble. I don't want to make him think that leaving or staying on a spot is good. Is bad. Sorry about that. You want him to think that it's always beneficial and that even if we make a mistake, I can help him through it. So again, we're going to remind him. I know the heat just came on, a little bit noisy. Stay. I'm going to try again with a little bit of wiggles. Notice how sometimes, though, as your puppies get tired, the wiggling, he's like, I noticed that you have toys. Ready? That was very nice, bed. So notice as opposed to saying leave it or that's enough or knock it off as he went to go check out the toys that technically aren't his but look very much so like his toys, I was able to do the little positive interrupter with little kissy noise and then regain Mr. B and his focus, and he was able to move away from the thing that technically wasn't a leave it, but I just didn't want him playing with it. So right now, I'm going to try to get that lovely down. He's like, what the heck, lady? Nice, right there, yes. So I'm going to try once more with just simple stays without me going and distracting him. There, see how he's working up a pant. He's like, guys, it's getting a little overwhelming, a little exhausting. So I'm going to tell him to stay. I'm just going to do a little bit of just hanging nearby. But notice how his little caboose is not quite as relaxed. There we go. It wasn't quite as relaxed. Oh, that was my bad. Here you go. But now it is. So now he planted himself on his side, which is a lot more of a relaxed position than being ready to jump up out of his down. So again, we're just feeding several lovely morsels while he's rocking his bed and place behavior with the stay. So sometimes if you find that you have to lower the criteria for your babe to be successful from day to day, you might have some days where you can do immensely big distractions, and then other days they can barely handle you taking a step away from them. That is okay. Just like with us, there's going to be some days where you're really feeling it, and other days where you're like, I'd rather never leave the house and I'm all set. So just like with us having our good and not so great days, it can be very common for puppies to also have those on-off days as well. But what you're looking for is not necessarily linear progression, but for example, progress in certain directions that seem to be, as they're building, going in the direction you were hoping, both mentally and physically for that puppy. I dropped a little crumb. Here you go. He's doing a real nice job. What a smart boy. So, but you'll see that my rate of reinforcement has kind of gone up. And the reason behind that is I have the noise going off. One of the puppies is barking. She's like, what the heck? When's it my turn to come out and play again with the wild men? So they do take little breaks and they rest throughout the day. And then they come back in and out and they work some skills. They do some engagement. They do potty breaks. And then they go back into working their little time for some practice. Oh, this is very pretty. He's like, I'm getting so pooped out. Nice. So let's say I want to end this gorgeous stay for Mr. B. I might be, again, all done, go and love this handsome man. He's like, yes, let's wrestle. Hi there, Munchkin. You're so stinking cute. You ready? We'll get up. He's like, I guess so. Ready? He's like, no, I'm so tired. So if your babies get stuck a little bit, I might go a little closer and then get him up and wiggling, but not feed him for breaking from the position. Maybe instead I feed for this beautiful check-in and some loose leash walk-in, but I don't ever want to call him from his stay or feed him for breaking to my best ability. Because I want him to start thinking the best part of the stationary position is to be stuck in it, not when we get out of it. So such a smart boy. So we'll take a little break from the bed. He's like, that seems silly. And we'll do a little bit with some more little skills. Maybe we'll work a few little weights again. So that way he can try and rehearse some of those bad boys. Just move the cot out of the way just in case. So we'll do a little bit with a couple find its, and then we'll go into some weights. Ready? What a good job. So unlike that stay that he was just doing, your weight is going to be where they're waiting and you're going to call them to you. So where that come or here would come into place. So let's say, for example, we're going to do one more little find it, just get him up and wiggling because he was stationary for a little while. So now I'm going to go and see if I can get Mr. B to go into a little sit. So I'm going to tell him to wait. He's like, got to get comfortable. He's too cute. And then from here, again, Bodie here, and reinforce him for that recall to me. So it was really pretty. So you can kind of rotate through the room, try it from, you got to chew them, sir. Try it from different venues. Oh, goodness me. You almost got it? Chewing is optional. So we'll get a little sit, tell him again to wait. I love that he has to get comfortable. So again, if moving too far away from him is harder, I'm going to, again, he's so cute. He's anticipating. Ready? Bodie, here. Yes, such a smart boy. If you find he tends to like do more of a little drive-by where he like comes on over and then just passes past you, I'd recommend to feed him several little snacks while he makes his way to you. So let's say, again, we're going to get one more little settle on that little sitting or down position for our weight. So I sometimes will, again, get him into the spot I'd like him, tell him to sit or down. He's already sitting, so I'm just going to apply my weight, take a little step away. If, let's say, that was too hard for him, I wouldn't add quite the same distance. And then I'm going to go again, Bodie, here. And then from here, to keep him nearby, I'm going to feed him several goodies as a little jackpot for not passing by me as he comes into my space for that recall. What a brilliant boy. So this, again, created a lot of really great value in being sort of in a stationary spot in front of me from that recall. What a smart boy. So ready, we'll do a little bit more with that loose leash walk-in. You ready? Such a smart man. He's like, oh my gosh, that's as fast as it goes for today. What a good job. His little meandering just kills me. So sometimes you'll see my hand to get more increased behavior in the forward motion. I do lower the hand a little bit to get more of a forward, faster pace. And then as he's kind of honed in, then I might bring my hand and bring it closer to my chest or my side get some of this little engagement, and then feed again for being by the leg, be it left or right. Nice job, sir. You are so smart. So maybe we'll do a couple little find its with, again, a couple little recalls. Bodie, here. Yeah, so good. Yes. If you ever find that he's doing natural check-ins, like what I mean by that is like automatic little check-ins or comes to visit you, I would definitely give those moments a little jackpot time too for him. Yes. So again, even if it's like one of your treats and you break it up into 4 little crumbs, he still views it as 4 reinforcements, not just one snack. Good job. You're so brilliant, sir. We'll do another little find it. Bodie, here. Yes, so smart. Nice. Brilliant boy. Oh, he says I dropped that one. It's hard when you got slimy face. Yes. So maybe what we'll do is we'll give him a little breather from some of those gorgeous stays and recall practice. And maybe we'll try a little bit with some play with him in a second. And then that way we can kind of work that on-off switch again. Because I tried doing a little bit of play with some, but then they were not quite feeling it or feeling a little tired or maybe a little off, and that's okay. So we'll try a little bit with some play with Mr. B in just a second, right? We'll do another little find it, and we'll give him a little breather. But he's doing such a good job again.